You can introduce yourself if you want.
I'm Will from Fenrir. We're based in Derbyshire. Yeah, balance training advocates here. Do a lot on YouTube. Very similar philosophy to Tom.
So Will and I have been in contact for last year and change, and so it's nice to come over here and know another trainer doing similar work that we do. And so we had a talk yesterday about, obviously I'm not familiar with the UK laws about training tools, where the government or the parliament's sending the dog training community over here. I have no education on it. I can say, a couple different things, because I know that you guys are either dog trainers or you obviously train balanced, or you have a philosophy that backs balanced dog training to some extent, I would assume. And then some of you are just trying to learn new information about what's going on. So this conversation that we had, I thought we just have here and kind of answer questions, because there's a lot of things that I don't know that Will does about what's going on here and the things that you guys are going to be dealing with in the upcoming years, not only in the UK but in other parts, even into Europe and things. So in the States, it's a big battle essentially. It's like any other politics. It's the left and the right, or the right and the left. Who's right? Who's wrong? And it's just a constant, disgusting battle, to be honest. And I'm just so sick of having to go through it, and that's why I don't do it anymore. I don't pick battles. I don't argue. I just keep doing my thing, which is why I'm here today. But there's a couple things that I think are worth mentioning, because you guys may not know the things that are going behind closed doors as much as Will and I do, because we've been approached by different people in the different industry and the science community about what's going on, and I think it's a healthy conversation to just chat to you guys about. I don't want to spend all morning debating on what's right, wrong, or indifferent. I just want to kind of go over some information that's maybe not accessible or whatever to you guys. So a couple different things is, in the States, there's no regulation to what you can do. And I'll just give you my opinion on how we do things in the United States about dog training. And I kind of stay in my own lane and do my own thing. I put my head down. There's a ton of, it doesn't matter if you make candles or you make coffee or you're a dog trainer. If you get to any type of place where there's going to be more than 500 people watching what you do every day, you're going to get hate for it. You're going to, your hat doesn't match your outfit, and your sneakers are too bright, and your voice sounds like a girl, and all that stuff. I mean, we get it every single day. But that's not the important part. The important part is where do you guys see this? Because that's what I feel bad for, as I'm out here advocating, Will's out here advocating for tools, proper tool usage, and maybe some of you guys are sitting there kind of like watching, like ding, ting, ting, like back and forth, and I don't think it's fair for you guys to not know what's going on. And so, like I said, in the States, it's really polarizing, and to me, I'm just like, hey, there's room for both things here. Positive reinforcement is mostly what we did yesterday. For those of you who weren't here yesterday because the audit spots, it's about all we did yesterday, really. I mean, we may have corrected 4 or 5 dogs, and they progressed and they did a lot better. It's even strange for me to even have to talk about what we did yesterday, but again, I just kind of want to talk about that. Like I said, positive reinforcement is a great value system that I train with, Will trains with, I'm sure everybody here that trains with, but we don't believe in just having that particular method, because other dogs, like, this briefcase is packed full of stuff to make sure that I do my job properly for you guys. I come all the way over here, we get people in from the Netherlands and up north, and all sorts of different places. I got to make sure I have the right tools to be beneficial for you guys. And it's always been like that in the States. That's why it's so odd for us when we come over here that we can't even use certain tools. It's like, it's weird. But anyway, so we had that conversation yesterday. Will's going to talk about some of his experiences. But I think it's valuable to just share to you. I'm not trying to say this to cause drama. I'm not trying to say this to cause a flash mob, pitchforking, not at all. I just want to let you guys know, because some of the information that even Will was saying yesterday kind of blew my mind, and I think it's valuable for you guys to know, because I know as anybody who uses tools, even in the States, somebody's like, oh, the prong collar, it's this, it's that, the e-collar, and you're like trying to figure out why they just said that the sky was green, not blue, and you're like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. So I think that information is hopefully helpful to you guys. That there's just miscommunication. It's propaganda. It's really is what it is. It's propaganda. It's just to kind of get you guys to feel a certain way and emotional about things. And as you guys saw yesterday, it's a beautiful thing, and it really helps and change lives. And one other thing before I have Will started on some of the information that he knows is one thing I will say that one of the biggest misconceptions about working with dogs, especially with behavior modification, is I primarily work with dogs who do have behavioral problems. So 95+% of them have a behavioral problem. So a lot of the trainers who are looking at the style of training that we're doing, and maybe even some of the tools that we're using, are trying to apply the methodology of training like a 6-month-old or 8-week-old little puppy running around. And I wouldn't even use a leash for that matter. I would just use some food and a clicker maybe, right? And we're not getting little puppies and correcting them for being bad dogs at all. So anyway, we created the No Bad Dog brand. We're advocating for tools. I'm very grateful and honored and very humbled to be here to be able to do this, but I think this is just a good forward motion for somebody like me in the States to come over here and say, hey guys, like, look, this is what it is. Because some of you guys may be like, we don't have access to balanced dog trainers. That's been a really big thing for my working clients here. And again, I'm not trying to start a debate or anything. I think that we just need to collectively work together. Things that you guys can do is share the information, share the posts, share the videos that are going to come from this seminar, just to let people know, hey, I don't know what you guys think or what you read, but it's not, I don't think it's true, and it doesn't have validity because here's other people doing it completely different. And I think it's scary for you guys to see, like, never do this because science says it. And it's just the science isn't done right? We have 2 different beers sitting here, and we do a test of 1,000 people, and they say this beer is better than this beer. This was brewed by a brewmaster. This was brewed by me in my backyard, but you didn't know that. So this beer is obviously better, right? No, it's not. It's done way differently by a professional who knows what they're doing. So you can't say that that's a bad beer. You know what I'm saying? That's what some of these studies are being produced by. They're having people use tools who don't know how to use tools, and they're using them improperly, and they're taking that information and they're kind of slandering it around a bit. So that's the only thing I wanted to say, and Will can kind of take it in what's going on here, but I think it's kind of lifting the rock over and just letting you guys know what's going on is important.
Yeah, sweet. I think it's best to start kind of with so if I go back, there's a lot of my kind of dog training, early mentor as a kid was my granddad. Old school as it comes, walking sticks, not a treat in sight. That's just what I knew growing up. I mean, it worked. There's no debate about it. And then you get older, it's a bit mean, and then you see all the stuff coming out. And then when I started to pursue this professionally and looking at the qualifications, you start, okay, positive only is this thing, or the science says that positive only is the thing. And so I started pursuing that, and I tried to be a positive only trainer, and I was just noticing it just wasn't working, or wasn't working anywhere near as well. And then you start looking into it. And then the beauty, I think now, where we're from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, is that you can simply go on YouTube and type it in. And Tom pops up, or any Larry pops up, or Robert pops up, and you can go, and you can start to see it very clearly now. So it's, oh, that's really interesting. And then you realise that there's actually a place for both. And then you get wrapped up in the political frustrations of it, and the dramatising of it. And when, like I said, the serious cases that we work with, the dogs that are getting put down, genuinely, it's like, you've got an hour to do something with this dog, or it's being put down today. It's like, I can't dance around with hot dogs for the night. I've got to do something right now and step up and deal with this moment. And that's where I think the frustration for us boils up from, because then we're being criticised for that when your hearts are in the right place. And I know a lot of people here, just from chatting to you yesterday, had similar principles, like, oh, I want to get into this and I'm following this positive stuff, but then I'm noticing it's not working. And then again, everyone has similar stories. You go on YouTube and you find one of us, and it opens your eyes to this. And then I kind of delved into it deeper, and I've got quite an academic background, and I had a degree in education, and I keep seeing this, science is on our side, science supports positive only. So I was like, okay, well, I'll be the change you want to see in the world. So I was like, well, maybe just the balanced guys are just out working, practically doing the job, and maybe not many people are in academia. So I was like, well, I'll go and try and do both. I'm in a lovely position with Fenrir as a company where I can start to pursue those avenues. A couple of years ago now, I started a master's degree in applied animal behaviour. And I got onto the course, all really good. And my thesis was going to be the efficacy of prong collars with behaviour modification of dogs with severe aggression, and compare that to positive only. Not biased at all, because again, genuinely from my core, is how can we help this dog? And in this moment, if this dog is getting put down today, the shelters I go in, what are the dogs? And they tell me that one's probably getting put down today. So I'm like, well, I want to work with that dog, get it out. So I'm like, okay, well, and I instantly, from my experience, I go, well, I need to get a prong collar on that dog, and I need to tune that dog up quick, and I need to get that behaviour under control, build a better relationship with that dog, and then instantly I'm getting food out and I'm working on obedience and I'm leveling it up. I need to get in and deal with that problem and deal with it quickly, and I'm getting criticised for that. So I was like, okay, let's go and prove it. I was going to do a master's and then go into PhD, and I was really going to on the first week we go in and when you do your induction and chatting to the head lecturers and the other lecturers, and they start talking about what thesis do you want to do. So I explain it, and I didn't realise when I applied for this course and paid $9,000 for it, but when you do your thesis, you have to go to like an ethics and morals board to present your idea to the board. This is what I want to study, please can I study this thesis? And I didn't know at the time, but the head lecturers, the people that make those decisions are running the governing bodies for positive only training. So instantly, no, you're not studying it. So I'm like, what do you mean I can't study it? That's what I want to study. You're saying science is on, cool, I've read all them studies and some of them are like, fair play, but I want to do this one, I want to do it equally, and I broke it. No, you can't do it. Can't do it. So I was like, I'm left in a situation now where like, you can't do that, but if you want to do disengagement and distraction with food for aggressive cases, you can study that. I'm like, what do you do in those situations? I don't know what to do. So through talking to the team and the guys, and I was like, I just can't pursue that degree anymore. I can't be a hypocrite and go in. And that's where like looking at now, you break down the syllabus and it is that I couldn't support Tom more with that. I have zero interest in making this an online fight. It shouldn't be us versus them, because then it's human versus human, and I have zero interest in that. It should be humans and helping these dogs. That's all it should be, but it isn't. It's human versus human, and the dog is an afterthought, 100%. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I'm gonna, and then I think that's where a lot of balanced guys find themselves in those situations. Well, I'm just gonna do the work. I'm just gonna get out there and help. And those with thick skins can grow audiences, and we had a good chat over lunch about it yesterday. You've got to be able to kind of ride those comments, and because again, we're the ones going into those situations and making a difference. And then it leaves me, I'm a very solutions-driven person, especially here in the UK, and our audience is like 60% in the US. So I have a very good foothold in the US, and I study a lot of what's going on there. But obviously being based here, I've got quite a nice gauge between the two. And I'd say, obviously, the guys in America are struggling with the same thing. But and you guys will know it, but I would say it's, if you go to I'd say it's 99% to 1, and we're in the 1%. That's how it feels to me from what I've looked, and when I've looked into it, that's the case. And there's no conversations being had. There's no honest, because, and I understand where it comes from. I've got friends that have and they're a bit more hot-headed than, say, me and Tom are, and will bite to that, and then it turns into the us versus them. The problem is that there isn't really many people, especially on the other side of the argument, that are willing just to have those conversations. And I think for me, what it boils down to, and you touched on it there, Tom, is I think there's very much a difference between dog training and behaviour modification. I think they're two very different worlds, and I think a positive only based approach is wonderful for dog training, teaching a new behaviour. Superb, and it's what you did yesterday.
Yeah.
But behaviour modification, stopping an existing behaviour, if you have any basic understanding of operant conditioning, sits on the other side of the equation. We need to bring that down. And again, those discussions are not being had. And I believe, and this is one of those phrases I word carefully because I don't want this to trigger an argument, but I believe, and I know you don't use the term behaviourist, you're a canine educator, and I agree, most of our job is teaching people. So I've got a degree in education, and my job is to teach you. Like you say, it's easy for us to work with the dog, but helping you work with the dog, and we saw it yesterday, it is a different skill. But I do believe that a good canine behaviourist is also a good dog trainer, but it doesn't mean a good dog trainer is a good canine behaviourist, because they're two different skills, and a behaviourist needs all 4 areas of operant conditioning, whereas a dog trainer can, rely simply on positive only. The problem is that person that might not be as humble, that's a difficult thing to accept when people are going to them with a behaviour modification problem and they've only got a screwdriver in the toolbox, but it needs a different tool. You need to be a humble person to be able to say, that's not me. If you need obedience, we want to do some agility, we want to do some trick training, that's me. This aggression, this biting, this reactivity, that's someone else that has different tools in their toolbox. To me, that's just a common sense conversation. But obviously we all know that simply isn't the case. And it leaves us frustrated and
and I think yesterday too, the majority of the dogs that were in here did a lot of positive only training, and even yesterday with you guys in particular, like we had 3 or 4 dogs that came in here for reactivity that reacted day 1 on Friday, and they were all within 5 feet of each other. And I'm not saying that they were all friends with each other, but it gave the owners an opportunity to live a life with their dog instead of pulling their dogs always constantly away or hiding in a bush. And so we just want to, at the end of the day, we don't want to make this again like all about. It's just nice that Will's here. He kind of, there's a big difference, like I talked about yesterday, that we could have every single one here be a professional dog trainer and certified in 3 different degrees, but and that's great, and you're helping dog owners. But when you start producing content internationally, you're on the chopping block. You become a politician. You're subject to hate and threats and mental illnesses, and it's really rough. And so for me, I look at the bigger scale of what we're doing, and of course I'm at a level in my career because I've been doing it long enough and I've learned how to block things out, that at the end of the day it's about the dogs. And like Will said, it's not about a human, it's what it becomes as a human, and we're not interested in that. Hey, you keep doing your thing, and you can be loud all you want. I'm just going to keep helping dogs. It's boots on the ground, I'm not in the science lab cooking up different equations of what's going to work and what's not going to work, because yesterday we helped at least 6 out of the 8 of the dogs that were reactive really make a difference in their life just in a really short time. So anyway, that's all we wanted to chat about.
I want to just quickly jump on something there. It's when you say 6 out of 8 dogs, I think if you're coming, everyone's come here to see you, and you can look at Tom as the role model, and most of us do, but I think you downplay the impact that you have off the back of something like this. Like, awesome, Tom, and when we have these audiences, like you said, we have to stick our head above the pulpit a little bit, but when you go home and have these conversations with people and try and break out of that argument and share your experiences, share the life-changing stories that you see in front of you. And we both, people come to tears. It changes people's lives. With a pop on a prong collar, you can change people's lives if you can help them understand that process. Come out of that fight and just talk to people. We'll talk about lead with kindness. We're leading with kindness with dogs, and I just really want to encourage just not to get drawn into those arguments on Facebook and Instagram. I truly believe it serves. The problem is the narrative is very, very easy to be spun that we're the big mean bullies and that we like hurting dogs. That's a very easy narrative to spin when you see us using these corrective measures. Us then buying into those arguments furthers that narrative very, very easily. And again, it might seem silly that there's just a group of people in a village hall here, but these are the moments that can have those ripple effects. It's 30, 40 people here, but if you tell 2 people and it trickles, and the beautiful thing of YouTube and the internet now is that it doesn't just have to be, listen, this is the wonderful experience I had, now go and watch the video on YouTube. Here's a link to Tom's video of it happening. You can see it, not, you're an idiot, you don't understand, because people aren't going to go and watch that video then. It's like, yeah, I understand, I get it, I used to think it looked mean as well, I get it, but go and look at the results, go and look at the life-changing stuff that it has. And that's where I hope that change can be made through the power of the internet, and then where that trickles on from.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's what I was saying, is just what you guys can do is just you don't have, I would encourage you guys to, and that's why we created like the No Bad Dog community, is I just tell you guys, like, don't fight with these people. Like, there's no thing to win, especially for my clients and other people who are starting to get into dog training. They're like, some of my clients become dog trainers because of the serious impact that we've had in their life and how emotional and how life-changing it is. And that's probably the biggest comment I get. I was talking to Will about this yesterday. The biggest comment I get has been inspiration to start dog training. And like, I think I said that yesterday, and I don't know if that's good or bad. But it's encouraging to me, and exactly that is just, you want to be the bigger person and just say, look, here's my experience. You know, you can put on a piece of, I don't want to read a piece of paper about what's going to happen. If that worked for my dog and it's working, that's all that matters to me long term. And so, yeah. So, yeah, we created the No Bad Dog community, and I'm trying to just create more peace in the world and just make it about the dogs instead of about people's egos and things like that. So, anyway, yeah. So, appreciate the talk, yeah.
No worries, bro.
We'll get into work now. Cool.
Nice.